All right, it's an exciting time. I feel very good about this recruiting class. As you all know and have been following, it's been a little bit of a grind. It's been a tough year in certain aspects and great in others. I feel like we really hit on a bunch of guys we were looking for. Big thing that you'll notice with this group is great size, great length. We feel like we hit a lot of areas of need in the secondary, O-line, D-line. So overall, very pleased with this group. I think hitting 13 defensive guys was important. I felt like, you know, we just continue to build depth, to get the size we're looking for, to get the players in the secondary was important. So we were aggressive with defensive players. Signing 13 of them was important for us and for our future. Offensively, 4 offensive linemen. It's always important to continue to build quality depth and to get just solid class after solid class with offensive line. It takes time to develop those guys, so feel very good with that group. I feel like once again with that class, with the offensive line, it was good to get size once again. We needed more girth. We need to be more physical. You've heard me talk about that time and time again, so I feel good about the offensive line. Another group that you see great length and great size is the wide receiver position. 2 guys in the 6'3" range, 1 guy in the 6'6" range, and once again, we're starting to build a quality group of receivers. We have a good nucleus, a good group coming back for next year's team that's already on our campus, and with the addition of these guys, once again, to continue to build some size. Tight end was another area of need, as you all know, so hitting on two tight ends was also important. And then with the late addition of the running back, with King, you know, I really felt like that was an important position to get somebody in that position, and he's a guy that we felt like had big playability and great speed. So he was a great addition to our class late throughout the process. Once again, defensively, you know, all areas, we needed each level of the defense. Signing 4 defensive linemen with great size was very important to us. 2 guys that stand out to me right away is Alvante and Courtney, and those guys are difference makers. It was very important to get those guys and to land them, and we went through some good recruiting battles to land those guys. So feel very good about the defensive line class and the size and the strength and explosiveness of that group. Linebackers, you know, we got to continue to build depth there. Feel very good about the linebacking group and the size and the athleticism and the speed of those guys. And the biggest area, probably the area where I feel like we hit was the secondary. And you all know, you've listened to me enough after each game, and you know, we had some bad matchup problems at times. You know, we play against some guys in this league that have great size and great skill at the receiver position, and I felt like we really needed to upgrade and get some quality guys in the secondary, and I feel very good about this group. As you hear me talk, you know, after games and areas of need and continuing to build this program, you hear me talk about being physical. And it's not just on the O-line and D-line. When you talk about physical and length, you're talking about all levels of your team. So I really felt like we needed to continue to improve that size and that physicality in the secondary and in the wide receiver position and linebackers and so on. So and certainly tight ends. So overall, feel very good about this group. I felt like it was key for us this last week, these last couple days, into last night and into this morning, to close on a few guys. As you know, it gets very delicate when you try to hit that number perfectly. Heading into this recruiting class, we had 23 spots available. We could have signed up to 25, and you got to count on some attrition between now and next fall. But we actually had 23. That's what we signed. I feel very good about that. It gives us a little bit of leeway, you know, if we have some attrition throughout our team between here and this summer. So once again, it was you know, I think a lot has been written and a lot of people have followed it. We've gone through some ups and some downs, but overall, very pleased, very happy with this group. There are some very good football players that are going to be joining us, and very excited to have them. So just overall, very pleased, very happy. I really appreciate our staff. I feel like you know, this group of coaches worked extremely hard. They work relentlessly around the clock, did an awful lot of traveling, and really worked hard to hold this class together. And you know, it's you know, not like a lot of times you hear me talking after a game. You know, a couple plays here, a couple plays there. Same thing, couple players here, a couple players there. Push you one way or the other. But overall, very solid effort, and really appreciate the efforts of our staff.
Stretch like this in your, or endured a stretch like this in your career where there's many guys change course in a short window of time? How much do you think that was related to how you guys finished the season?
I don't think a lot was had to do with how we finished at all. I mean, as you say, if that would have been the case, I think we'd have had some turning early. I don't think it had a lot to do with that. But no, I haven't been around a lot that has changed, that you had that much change within a 7-day span or so. I don't think we're alone. I think it's a situation that probably needs to be addressed on a national level. But you know, again, I'm not concerned about the guys we did not get. I'm very excited about the players we got. But are there some issues? Are there some things that could be improved nationwide? I think so.
How do you feel about the early signing period around the calendar? Would you like to?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a need. I don't think. You know, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody. I'd say the people I know and talk with, absolutely everybody is for an early signing period. Where and when is the big discussion. And that's where a lot of people have different opinions. And I just know, generally speaking, I don't want to speak for the other coaches in our conference. I just know from our meetings, it just a general thought is people are not in favor of changing drastically our recruiting calendar, which means we're already got a lot on our plate, and you start doing things and having officials and things like that in the summer, spring, all that stuff gets very hectic. I think the consensus in our league is we like the way it's laid out right now. If you could just find some kind of happy medium with an early signing period. My personal thought is it makes no sense not to. You know, but we recruit these guys for over a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it may be. And if they give us our word and they want to come to Kentucky, then give them the scholarship and let them sign it. And that protects both them and you. I think sometime in December has been mentioned, and that's what I'd be in support of. That gives you the entire season if they want to come up. And a lot of coaches in our league, you know, are afraid to move it up too far because we all are a little bit hesitant about hosting official visits all fall, because we're busy enough with games, and then you take on, you know, I don't know if you do the families justice a lot of times because we don't have the time to spend with them, and a lot of people are opposed to that. But the point is, for us, and again, I could only speak for ourselves, they're going to come in season anyway. You know what I mean? If a prospect wants to come to a game on an official visit in the fall, then we say, okay, you know, and bring them in, and we host them anyway. So we're dealing with it. We're dealing with the extra work as it is. And once again, if, you know, that's what I'd be in favor of. You know, give them the time to come in the fall, give them the time to go to a few weekends in December, and let them sign sometime before Christmas and get it wrapped up. It only makes sense. You know, they have our word that I'm going to give them a scholarship, and it would certainly save the university an awful lot of money, and it would save our coaches an awful lot of time. You know, our coaches are flying all over the country, you know, and you know, I know not a lot of people are worried about that, but they're going all over the place, and sometimes just holding, you know what I mean, just holding things down. And the vast majority of these guys never even blinked. They've been very solid, and they've been great to recruit the whole time. But that we never take anything for granted. So we're going in there each and every week, making sure things are buttoned down. So you know, there's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere.
Mark, on the flip side of players.
What can you tell us about what happened in Richmond with 3 players?
Pardon me?
What can you tell us about what happened in Richmond with 3 players?
To be honest with you, just what you tell me, Alan. You know, I don't know. You know, I'm trying to gather the information. You know, I've been reading a bunch of reports from, you know, what everybody said, and to this point, I don't know what's true and what's not. You know, so I just, you know, I have certain information, and I just need to let the legal process do its, you know, go through its course. Right now, nobody's been charged. I think you know, there's a lot of people looking into it, and I need to get a little bit more accurate information, you know, on that and see where it goes.
How many of these guys that you got late commitments from, were you agreeing through the whole process, or did some of them pop up over?
So, yeah, most of them we had a good fix on, and you know, so most of the guys we knew about, or our coaches have been in contact and following up and staying on them and things like that. So, yeah.
Some of the fans might be surprised with the names of some of the late guys. Were you surprised at any of the late commitments?
I don't know about surprised. I was pleased with some things down the stretch. You know, I'd be lying if I knew, you know, if I told you I was going to walk in here this morning and knew exactly how this was going to play out. So you never take anything for granted. So I was pleased with some of the way we closed on some guys.
A guy like Avante Bell, who committed to Kentucky, didn't put up the best numbers in junior college. What did you see from him in 2 years?
The more quiet, the better. That's what I didn't want anybody to know about him. We didn't talk about him. None of y'all knew about him. Nobody said a word about him, and that's the way I liked it. So he's a very good football player, very explosive. Our coaches have gone there and watched him practice and been around him, and you know, we feel like he's got a very bright future.
What did each of the 4 early enrollees give you right away?
Pardon me?
What did each of the 4 early enrollees give you now that they're here on campus?
Well, you know, those guys have been very solid. They've been very good football players. Our strength and conditioning coaches have been very impressed with those guys. Physically, they're what you want. And with the 4 high school guys and the 2 transfers, all 6 of those guys have been nothing but good for our team. They're physically what you want. Mentally, they've been doing a great job. So it's been very good to have those guys on campus. And again, all of our coaches that have been around those guys have been very impressed with them, both athletically and how mature they are.
Mark, on the flip side of players decommitting from the school, what's your sort of stance on late in the process, a guy that's been committed to you for a long time, saying, you know, there's not room now, or we want you to wait and come next year?
Yeah, you know, I think you're going to probably see more and more of that. You know, it's not something I'm comfortable with. I think y'all, you know, you probably know enough about me, and you know how I try to be very fair and very direct, and you know, so for me, it's not something I'm very comfortable with, because you know, relationships are very important to me, and as I go and recruit and talk to a prospect and talk to their parents and give them my word that I'm going to take care of them, you know, that's something very hard for me to do. So when I go and say I'm going to take care of them and treat them exactly how I want my son to be treated, that's not how I want my son to be treated. So I don't know how I could say that and then do it. That's just me.
Mark, what would you say to the average Big Blue Nation person?
Pardon me?
What would you say to the Big Blue Nation about the way things are done and how recruiting as you all in tackle right now?
Mm-hmm.
People right here are not used to it.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people?
Well, I think I'd tell them that we're fishing in the right waters. You know, I think we're going after the right guys. So I think our staff has done a nice job of targeting and evaluating some very good players. And early on, sometimes when we go and target these guys and recruit them and sometimes get a commitment, and a year later they blow up, I feel like the staff deserves some good credit for that, because I feel like we're working extremely hard. We're already worked hard on 16. We've been at it for months, but in particular, really zeroed in on it again this week and moving forward on 16. But I feel like our staff does a nice job. We work very hard at identifying the right talent, and then we go after them. And I told you that from day one, that we're going to compete and we're going to battle with the very best teams in the country, and we're going to win some and we're going to lose some. I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on that at that time. We'll submit the paperwork and the appeals and see if we can get them cleared to play. I have no idea. It probably wouldn't be right for me to guess on that.
Offensively, have not, before you got here, the tight end in terms of pass catching is not a big part of the offense. How much did you target CJ for that reason? How much do you think you might help him?
Yeah, I think it was very important for us to target CJ and to land him. He's a guy that we feel like can be a complete tight end. He certainly can run and catch, and you see him physically getting better already since he's been on campus. I want to say he's gained in the neighborhood of 10 pounds or so already, and getting more physical. So it was very important for us to get a tight end, and we need to continue to recruit and develop tight ends.
Mark, what are your expectations for Eli Brown and Mason Wolf, the two
Yeah.
state guys?
I think, two very good football players. It was very important for us to get those guys, Mason and Eli. There's a good chance that they'll be redshirted, but talent-wise and size and everything, they're exactly what we're looking for, with the exception of Eli, of course, getting a little bit more physical, but he'll do that with no problem. He could run and change direction. He's very explosive and very talented, so very happy to have him. Yeah, I think we're much closer to where we want to be. I think I was commenting on one of the shows that we had here today about that, as far as where do we go from here? So it's very exciting to wrap up this class. Everybody asks me all the time, how would I feel about this? Well, we put a lot of hard work, and it's good to get it wrapped up. It's good to introduce them to our fan base and to the media and talk about these guys publicly, which is nice. But what's really encouraging is to get back with our team and develop our team. Our guys have been working since we've been on the road, since we've been back after the break. The coaches have been on the road traveling and recruiting and hosting weekends and all that stuff, and our team has been busting their tail in here with our strength and conditioning team. And the nice thing is we've been back on campus, and when we are back on Fridays or this week, walking around the weight room and walking around the complex and seeing our guys, physically, it's much closer to what we want to look like. So we feel very encouraged about where we're at and where we're headed. I think it's going to be a fun group to coach. They are anxious, and we are anxious to get with them and to have a very tough, demanding winter to continue to build the toughness that we need in this program. So, I feel very good about where we're headed.
Marcus, you guys have sold a vision really for the last 3 years to prospects coming in here, what you think this thing can be. Important going into a fourth recruiting class and a third season are the results in the field this fall as you try to.
You ready to turn it up already, huh? Yeah, well, why not? I'm not. It's important, I mean, you know that. I've never, I've answered that question the same way. Whether it's year 1, year 2, or year 3, it's always important to go out and compete at a high level. It's important to win, that's always going to be the case. I think, as I just answered, I think we're getting closer and closer to where we want to be. I know we're making strides, and we're going to continue to put our head down, go to work, and get better. Well, I think KG is a guy that, much like a lot of these guys that I talked about, is what you're looking for. First of all, he's a high character guy. He's got great size, great length. He's an unbelievable student, and so he's the type of guy you're looking for in your program.
You don't often want to play a freshman offensive lineman, but having a guy here early and having the
George.
chance to get himself physically ready and
Yeah.
spring ball, is he one you looked at and hoped could help you out?
Yeah. George Asafo is a guy that physically has everything you want. He's very mature. He works extremely hard. you just look at him. You just walk around the building and look at him. He looks as good, if not as good or better than anybody we have on our team. And he's been here just a couple weeks. So I think it's very important to have him here in the spring, and he will definitely help us. And he's definitely the type of inside physical presence that we've been looking for. And the other guys, our other guys, are getting better, as we know. But certainly, it's good to have George here.
George, said his initial plan was maybe to redshirt, but then maybe he got here in the summer. What are his chances to contribute right away?
You know, we'll see. We'll see how he does in the winter and how he does in the spring practices. But he's a guy that initially you would think that, because physically he needs to mature a little bit and put on a little bit of strength and a little bit of weight. But talent-wise, he has everything you're looking for.
Looking back to last year's class, and brought in some linebackers that none of them were able to really come in and help you. How
Yeah.
important is that group,
Yeah.
spring and going into the fall at a position where you really
It's important. You know, it's important. You know, I feel like Ryan really played well at the end of the year. He'll help us. And Josh, obviously, as we talked about all through the fall, really showed some flashes of doing some really good things. But we need to constantly develop depth, especially at the outside linebacker position as well. So Denzel is a guy we're very high on, coming off red shirt, that could really help us and hopefully be the body type and explosive like Bud was. Obviously, he won't be as seasoned as Bud, but a very talented guy.
Mark, have you made any progress on the safety special teams development?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's official with Andy Boo. So I think Tony's going to give you a release. We just got some clearance today, or got it official.
Literally, I just got a text a couple of minutes ago. We got official clearance on him.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it was official. So.
we have the same responsibilities, or what will his
It will not be the same responsibilities, no. He will work with outside backers. I am not giving him the special teams coordinator title, because I want to give some of our other staff some of those responsibility, and not put it all on one guy. So Andy will coach on the defensive side of the ball. He will coach the outside linebackers, and so Derek Ansley will coach the whole secondary with me helping Derek.
Special teams is going to be a group effort, or?
Special teams will be a group effort. Andy will be in charge of the kickoff and punt team, and some of the other units that I'm still working with some of the offensive staff. But there will be nobody with the title of special teams coordinator. And I'm doing that because I believe in a lot of the coaches that I have on staff to handle the special teams. And I'm also doing it because I wanted to relieve some of that pressure of that person with all that work to do, and to help get back in the defensive room, and to help Coach Elliott and myself, and just get another mind in there with Coach Ansley and Coach Brumbaugh, and just the way you see it. Just do the math and look at all the teams we compete against, and things are difficult. You know what I mean? There's offenses that are very complex, and there's a lot of good coaching, and it was a position that I really was looking for a specific skill set in that hire. And I wanted somebody to bring some more experience and give us some help in the defensive room.
With the way your entire roster is now, do you anticipate redshirting maybe more of these guys this year, or will you have the same?
I don't know. Last year we were able to redshirt 16 of them, and I was very happy to do that. We're going to be very happy as we move forward. It's always a great balancing act right there, because you hate to burn somebody's year and not use them as much as you'd like. I still prefer to redshirt guys if you can. I think in the long run of your program, it's really going to help you. I feel very good about the 16 guys coming off redshirt. I think they're all going to help us. And so we'll see with this class how many redshirt.
Mark, with the reshuffling, does this mean you're going to be a little more hands-on with that defensive back group?
Yeah, it does. I need to get in there, working in the year 3, much more comfortable with the, just day-to-day operation and all the things. If I could just get Tony to relieve me a little bit and get off, give me a little time in season. But no, I think it's important for me to get more involved. I feel very good about where we're headed in the leadership of the defense with Coach Elliott. I have total 100% confidence in what's going on there and what's going on, with Shannon on the offensive side of the ball. I feel very great about our coaches. I just, for myself, it's just, it's good for me and it's good for our team to be involved in. There's a lot of things to look at as you work with your staff, and I had always coached the full secondary, and there's both good and bad to that, So I think, the skill that you're looking for with breaking down safeties and with breaking down corners, it's good to have two of them sometimes, and sometimes it's good to have one voice. So, but it's an awful lot of work, and so I'll be in there to help with Derek. That'll be a lot for him, a lot for anybody, because it's a big group. When you get into nickel and dime situations, you're talking about coaching 5 and 6 guys. But last year, Coach Brumbaugh had a lot on his plate as well, because he had, with certain packages, he had quite a few of those guys up there as well.
Does that also sort of signify that you feel more comfortable sort of taking the training wheels off of DJ to say, you deal with this and I'll go?
No, the training will. There's been no. DJ has been, in charge of that. He and I have always been on the same page philosophically. That doesn't mean we always have all the answers, because things are very difficult. And you've heard me talk about it time and time again. Sometimes when you're not as talented as you want to be, certainly the first year you just start throwing a bunch of things at the wall and hoping something sticks. The second year we got much better in who we're going to be and what we want to be. And I feel very good about the direction of where we're heading right now. And then it's a matter of getting it all coached, and that's where you need a bunch of bodies on the field to execute the things you want to do. So, we went through a transition, both with myself and Coach Elliott, with some of the things that we wanted to evolve to. I feel very good about where we're getting to and who, exactly who we are. And I think Coach Elliott's done a great job of organizing that and putting that package together, and it'll help us be very clear on what we're going to do as we move forward. It did come up, and it certainly was something that I addressed, each time in the homes and things like that. And as you can imagine, nothing but smiles there from the prospects, because they're coming into it at a very good time. Who else?
I know you're excited about the guys you do have, but take us back to Damian Harris's decision and how you felt going into it and how you will recruit after he made his choice.
Yeah, very happy for Damian. Obviously, we wish he was here, but we wish him nothing but the best of luck. I really enjoyed getting to know Damian and his family. He's a quality young man and a great football player, and he'll have a great future. So, we were disappointed, but we moved on very quickly and went back to work. So, it's part of it. I know this, just like I said many times, that I feel very good about the work that we put in to show Damian how important he was to us. And sometimes you're going to win some of those and you're going to lose some of those. So it's part of the business. And but I felt like our staff, and every legal time I was allowed to be in the school, I was in there every legal time. One of our coaches were allowed to be in there. We were in there for countless hours. So we tried as hard as we could.
Mark and Mike was on the eligibility issues as far as the transfers are concerned. Is that strictly in the NCAA's hands?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody asked me that earlier. It's probably not appropriate for me to talk about that, whether they'll be cleared to play or not, because I really don't know. We're going to, we'll file an appeal and send it to them, and we'll see how that goes.
Mark, do you have recruiting territories in mind for the new assistants?
Yeah, we do. We're shuffling through some of that right now, but we'll restructure some things, some territory.
It's too soon to tell us?
Yeah, I don't want to get into all that right now. You'll put me on the spot. I'll be wrong. I don't want to do that. So.
Before about recruiting secondary players that play corner or safety.
Mm-hmm.
Fit that mold.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely do. This secondary group is very versatile. You hear me use that word a lot, but it's true, with all the different packages, all the things you have to do. And, the bottom line is you got to be a very good football player. The guys that could jump in and play corner, play nickel, play dime, even play a little safety, those are the guys you want. You know, and I feel like this group is a lot like that. Very rangy, very athletic, and you know, very versatile.
Some of the opponents that gave you a lot of problems during the season had guys like that in their secondary. Is that kind of like a little bit of a blueprint for
you know, I'm sure they did. I didn't look at it that way. You know, I've coached the secondary my whole life, so you know, I know what we're looking for. But no, it is. I mean, I don't know, to answer your question. I didn't notice it, you know, but I know there's very good football players in this league, and that's what we're looking for. And so, you know, I feel like once again, I just love the range of this group. You know, very tall, lengthy guys that can run and change direction. So I feel good about that.
Even with the defections, I think this is, if you go by the rankings, recruiting rankings is going to be the 3rd or 4th best class Kentucky's had in a dozen or so years. Do you like that you've gotten this program to the point that fans here might be grumbling over a class that you feel really good about because the expectation has been raised?
Sure. I mean, you know, I'm not worried about that and the expectations. You know that we're going to recruit the very best players we can, and we're not afraid to compete. We're certainly not going to lay off anybody because some other schools are recruiting them. And you know, once again, we feel very good about this group, and I want to concentrate on the victories that we have in this group, because there's a lot of guys in here that maybe I don't know who or whatever. I don't read all that. You know, you may know that better than me, but I know there's a lot of guys on this group that we had to fight awfully hard for to keep against some very good teams. So I'm very proud to have these guys come and join our program.